And welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. Starting things out looking at the sun in 171 angstroms here. It's about 8.5 hours of activity today on February 11th, 2020. Lots of filaments in the western portion, no sunspots, pretty weak solar activity. Let's take a close-up of this filament down here. And there's a close-up of that filamentary behavior down there in the southwest, courtesy helioviewer.org. Next we'll go to 304 angstroms. And there once again you can see those significant filaments on the western limb. And we've got a view in 304 angstroms also of that southern one. So not nearly as weak of solar activity as we saw a couple of months ago, folks, but back into pretty weak solar behavior here. We'll show you all the relevant data. And here we are at HelioViewer. I'm just going to show you the fields to show you that there are really no significantly organized fields. Places to look for sunspots throughout the day would be down here. As we see a small bright spot there and a little bit of magnetic organization. Otherwise, again, weak solar output. X-ray flux is pretty much flatline here. And the 10.7 centimeter radial flux back down to 70 solar flux units. So nothing like what it was when it was at 64 a couple of months ago. Welcome to cycle 25. KP index is at 3. And we've seen a small uptick in the solar wind speed over the past 12 hours here. And it looks like another bit of diffuse coronal hole wind coming in. Phi angle currently at 145 degrees. Solar wind density around 5 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind, did I say speed? Solar wind density around 5 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 432 kilometers a second. The lowest it reached in this lull was around 370 kilometers a second. And there's the data from ACE looking corroborative. Next we'll look at magnetosphere movies. And it's looking pretty steady here. No major magnetic perturbations or major solar wind spikes coming in. But we archive the data daily anyway. Because you never know when old data will become relevant, folks. And it's a great thing in cosmology as a lot of data is being gathered, more than we're able to pour through. So at least we've got massive data archives. Here are the ground magnetic perturbations, folks. And sometimes you never know if the data is going to be useful until you find out about new phenomenon. Anyway, there are the delta B geospace ground magnetic perturbations, changes in the Earth's B field, as we have 2 north poles, one over Siberia and one over North America, and another one in the south creeping toward southwestern Australia. During this magnetic excursion, we're wondering what will happen next, and that's part of the reason why we have the channel. Next, we'll look at total electron content, and this is the entire electron content between a GPS satellite and the lithosphere. So we are expecting to see some GPS errors as we have fairly high electron flux levels. And especially if you're around the equator, around noon typically is when we see large GPS errors. And you see those dark orange blotches, you're probably looking at about 40 meters of GPS error in those regions. And as you can see, the relativistic electrons have reached a fairly high level here. And as forecasted, the GOES electron flux went into alert threshold again. It looks like today it's not going to do so, as we see that increased solar wind speed, and that's what I like to call proton light, as solar wind protons really want electrons. Anyway, there's the 2 different energy levels here, and for some reason it's only showing, no, it's showing all 4 graphs there. So anyway, there's the current electron flux, and we're not expecting that to reach alert levels today, as we saw that small uptick in the solar wind speed. Next 6 hours of ionosphere movie here, courtesy Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. It's looking a little discharged up there today. And let's just bring up the latest image and move on, as there's a lot of content to cover, as well as a second video. We're going to do a cosmology segment today. And there's the current image at 9 o'clock UT. GOES magnetometers are continuing to look spiky as forecasted. And here's some more detailed data about the magnetic environment. The current sheet, the heliospheric current sheet here, is almost entirely charged up by the South Pole, and we're seeing a little bit of a pull through of the North Pole polarity there. As that sunspot rotates around, it's pulling that South Pole field down and allowing the North Pole field to charge up that part of the current sheet. So apparently there's still some activity in that sunspot that formed just before it set over the western limb a couple of days ago. Keep in mind the data is an hour and 48 minutes old, and the magnetic environment can change with absolutely no warning. Next, we'll do the earthquake rundown. Nothing over a 6 magnitude in the past 24 hours. And let's just scroll up the list. We saw some increased volcanism in some spots that we'll get to in a moment. There's a deep 4.3 magnitude quake in Indonesia, as Indonesia has been seeing a bit of a deep quake event. Please have an earthquake plan if you're located in Oceania, the deep quake capital of the world, especially around here, around Fiji and Tonga. There's one off the east coast of India. Here's one in the South Sandwich Islands. Those are both around a 5 magnitude. Here's one at Greece, a 5 magnitude. Pretty much a lull in earthquake, folks, and we are still experiencing a drought of large earthquakes. Now we're looking at Piton de la Fournaise, located on the French island of Réunion, and it's been erupting in a fairly epic fashion here. There's some lava fountaining and just a general uptick, and there are some webcams there. This one's taken an image just 24 minutes ago. Let's see if we can see any eruptive behavior. By the way, this one webcam is actually located right on the edge of the caldera, this one here. So if you want to check it out, it's at windy.com. Let's see if we can see any lava. Looks like a cloudy day there. We're seeing a little bit of incandescent light coming out. Let's see what was happening 24 hours ago. And not really catching any eruptions in the main caldera here. I believe these are all sub-fissures, and we'll get to it in a minute. First, let's look at the pressure zones. And there's the current situation. We're going to let this advance 24 hours via the GFS forecast. A strong low pressure system over Hawaii, as some very high winds have been measured there. And around here is where we will expect things to be tomorrow at 1300 Universal Time. Again, that's the GFS forecast. Next, we'll look at volcanoes. And on the list, starting out the list, is Mount Aso, producing a 12,000-foot ash plume, so that's a significant uptick there. Sakurajima, flight level 7,000 there. Krakatau, which is the deadliest volcano of the past couple of years, it's killed a few hundred people as a result of a tsunami that it caused. Eruption observed by ground observer. Mount Dakono, exploding, 8,000-foot plume there. Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 22,000. Sangay exploding, 20,000-foot plume there. Revenador, also exploding. 15,000-foot plume there. Sabancaya exploding. 25,000-foot Your host trying to learn to speak the English language once again today. Sabancaya exploding, producing a 25,000-foot ash plume. Piton de la Fournaise on the French island of La Réunion. Lava fountaining on the eastern flank remain active. Lava flows continue to be active on the eastern flank. Please do not pitch a tent if you are vacationing at La Réunion on Piton de la Fournaise. Have you ever been driving down the road? Let's segue into human health stories. You ever been driving down the road and you see a hazmat placard on a truck and wondered what it is? Well, the way you find it is you type in UN/UA hazmat and then the code. One of the places that you'll be directed to is Cameo Chemicals. And yesterday, I saw a truckload of Pentene. This can be very useful, especially if there's a car crash or if you are some sort of emergency personnel. You probably already know about this. There's a reason why these placards are there. And in the event of a disaster, it may be helpful to know. You can download a PDF that has all the information on it on various different websites. UN/UA hazmat and then the code. Let's talk about more feline health stories. Were you aware that you can get a tinfoil hat for your cat? Who knew? Well, thanks to smAsho staff for bringing this to our attention. Now, sadly, it's out of stock here at Walmart. I'm not sure if the Archie McPhee tinfoil hats for conspiracy cats is available at any other places. I'm not sure if it's made out of real tinfoil. It looks a lot like Mylar to me, folks. And Mylar is no substitute for aluminum. Anyway, we'll leave links to that. Send an email to Walmart if you're concerned about that thing getting back in stock. Coronavirus update. There's the current graph. And this is going to continue to be underreported for an extended period of time as there are millions and millions, indeed probably like hundreds of millions of people currently quarantined in China. So this is going to be causing problems in the supply chain, and I will let you know if I see them happen in my line of work as I work in the supply chain, doing applied science for a company that does nutritional integrity testing, but mainly food safety and some other chemical analysis and synthesis. And while we've already seen disruptions in the U.S. food supply due to late springs and early winters and extreme flooding in the past 2 years in the U.S., now we're expecting to see additional problems. Over 43,000 confirmed cases, and the death toll has risen over 1,000. Fortunately, Trump says the coronavirus will be gone by April when the weather gets warmer. I think it's all going to work out fine. Rough stuff, okay? Anyway, Trump during a speech last night, as covered by USA Today, suggesting that coronavirus will be gone by April when the weather gets warmer. And let's hope he's right. Links to the smAshomash.com forum article, which is a massive repository of information, starting out with all kinds of info about what coronavirus is, as well as 3 pages with all sorts of different varying opinions. So the coronavirus is a family of viruses, including various things like H1N1, SARS, and the common cold. Anyway, we've put all that data into one convenient link for you at smAshomash.com/forum. It's part of the free-for-all forum, and we're going to create a human health forum soon. Shout out to Terry, drinking the Brazilian today, and it is fantastic. Lightningmaps.org showing us where the lightning is striking. And it's looking pretty calm on this real-time lightning map. Let's move on to the U.S. Doppler radar map, as we like to provide value-added services for our loyal viewers, our friends, and our foes. Anyway, there's where things are now, and please stop raining. I am so soggy I'm going to turn into a mold spore. And check out the heavy snows over northern Texas there and northern New Mexico, as well as an ice storm hitting central Texas. Some severe weather looking like it's kicking off there. Could be some severe icing as the jet stream is pushing cold air way down south. Next, we're going to look at the water vapor map here from a globe view instead of from the U.S. view, as this includes both the U.S. view and even places like Western Africa and South America. Check out the weather patterns in South America, as we have water flowing from east to west, which is far from normal, as the jet stream typically moves air from west to east. Check it out. Brazil with some extremely bizarre weather phenomenon. Here's the water vapor over Europe and Africa. And get me off the screen. And let's look at nullschool.net. There are the jet streams of the Western world. And you can see where that jet stream is making an extreme bend here in the central U.S. And that's the cause of that ice storm in Texas and New Mexico right now. Here are the eastern jets. I would note a large anticyclone here in the north, and another extreme bend here over northern Saudi Arabia. Have you pressed like and subscribe on YouTube? We're nearly at 1,500 subscribers. Oh my goodness graciousness. Goodness graciousness me. Did you watch our special presentation featuring Eugene Bagashov, theoretical physicist, about the theories of everything? Here's a teaser.
So it's very complex, and people have only been able to unify the electromagnetic and weak interaction. So it was pretty successful, but with strong interaction, there are a lot of problems. There is a problem. It's actually the field where I'm working in, so I'm fairly familiar with it.
Anyway, that's your teaser. We linked the video below this one. We're talking about the theory of everything. And basically what it comes down to is relativity versus quantum field theory. And I'm not going to go in depth into it because that's what the video is for. We also share this image, which features very slow speeds, as well as gravitation and quantum field theory up top there. I'm not going to explain it because Eugene explains it in the video. Have you joined Revolution, since nothing is more revolutionary than stumping for Hillary Clinton in 2016? In any case, do you follow us on Uptick? We are on Minds, and we've got over 500,000 views over there, as well as some exclusive content, memes, and other stuff. And thanks for the extremely generous wire, Mukachu, known on YouTube as Divided States of America. Thank you very much for that wire. It was very generous. And we'll be using it in all kinds of different ways. Check it out. He sent us 100 tokens. It's a big deal. Shout out Divided States of America. Thanks again, man. We're also on BitChute, as we are always concerned about the fact that our YouTube channel could be deleted suddenly with no warning nor explanation. So check us out at bitchute.com/smAsho, up to 87 subscribers over there. Also check us out on patreon.com/smAsho. Even if you don't want to pay us every month, there still is some exclusive content that you'll see over there, so perhaps check that out. Patreon.com/smAsho, our main source of funding, as YouTube pays us almost zero. Thanks to the Smash team, and stay tuned for a bonus feature. Actually, let's make it 2 bonus features. Here's a colorized magnetogram of the sun. And I'll just let that scroll down so you can all take it all in. Not a lot of magnetic organization happening there. That one little spot south of the equator, you can see there a little bit of field complexity happening. That could turn into a sunspot. And this straight line here is probably some sort of an artifact. That is the area to watch throughout the day today. It's an area to keep an eye on. And when I say eye on, well, you probably get the idea. And last, we're going to show a 335 angstroms view here of the local yellow dwarf. This is a 48-hour video, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun, and when you do, don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back, and may the atherosclerosis be absent from your veins.